Hello there. I think that you are there now. I am going to just quickly check my phone. I thought that it would be good for me to, excuse me, not use the countdown timer so that I'm coming on at noon. And of course, I was ready to go, and then something funky was happening with my setup, so I had to reboot. But I'm here, and I'm just going to quickly go to my phone to make sure that I am in fact live and I can see myself that I am on I always like to have a second device so that I can tell that I am broadcasting to the right place. And so I want to say hello to everybody. And I know that Pauline Riley is here from Wales and that many of you will be joining us in just a few minutes. And so welcome to my weekly Wednesday Live. I have been working all morning and I should have gotten myself a glass of water before I started to broadcast because I can feel that my throat is a little itchy. But you know what? We're going to go with it. We're going to totally go with it. And I wanted to talk about my upcoming, very exciting, drum roll please, my very exciting 3-day live virtual event that's coming up in June. You might have heard a little bit about it. Maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it. And so I thought that what we could do today is I could talk to you about what it is, why I would love for you to join us, and how incredibly fun it's going to be. So my first question for any of you who are here live, or if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments if you have ever been to an in-person event. Have you gotten on an airplane, you've booked your hotel, and you've gone to an event in person? There are many reasons to go to an event in person, and I certainly went to many of them before the pandemic. I have actually not been to any big events like, with 1,000 people or 800 people where it's a big kind of conference. But I went to several of them pre-pandemic, and of course they're fabulous, and you're definitely all in because you have let's say it's a 2-day event or something like that, it usually will take you 4 days away from home because you have to travel there the day before. Then you're at the event for 2 days, and they usually go all day long, and then you got to travel home. So when COVID hit, a lot of people decided that they could do events like that, but they could do them online. And the great thing about doing an event online, or essentially a virtual event, is that you can get all of the same value, but it can be done in a short period of time. So mine is 3 days, but you don't have to have a travel day at the front end. You don't have to have a travel day on the back end, and you're doing it from the comfort of your own home. And there's no travel costs. There's no hotel costs. There's no airport check-in lines, right? And so it's an incredibly great way for you to actually still make an investment in yourself, because it's an investment of your time. And if you work full time, you need to ask for time off. Or if if you have a part-time job, you want to make sure that you can block off the time because you want to be all in. You want to treat it as though it is an in-person event. It's just an in-person event where you can find a place in your house, or like me in my garage, where I know I can focus the entire time. I can participate in all of the activities and I can get all of the great value, but I don't have to travel. So it really has kind of revolutionized part of the way we can interact and part of the way that we can learn the things that we want to learn. And so my Creative Business Blueprint live event is over 3 days in June. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to share my screen and show you. If you go to members.artwithann.com/CBB, and the CBB stands for Creative Business Blueprint. So those are B like boys, right? CBB. You can see it. It's highlighted up on the top of the screen. And the whole point of this incredible event is that I want to help you start or scale your creative business. And I want to do it together with you over the course of these 3 days where we'll be together. And I'm going to be sharing the 6 simple steps that will help you turn your creative passion into a thriving business or into a side gig. It could be a side hustle, it could be a part-time business, could be a full-time business. And in particular, I'm going to share how I actually started from scratch. Now, you might be further along and it will still be very valuable for you, but it is also for people who have always had this hobby and they actually want to make a little bit of money from it. Doesn't have to be a big amount, but you want to have you want to make a little bit of money from it. And so I'm going to share the process that I developed when I had to do this myself. And you know my origin story. I got laid off from my corporate job. I'm not going to tell you the whole thing again because you know it already. But I had a corporate job for 30 years and then I got laid off unexpectedly. And I knew my life wasn't over. And I'd always been super creative as a kid, but I never pursued it. And so I decided, well, it's never too late to create. And so I did decide to pursue it. And I followed this 6-step formula that I'm going to share with you during my 3-day live event. So the incredible thing is that the value of everything I'm going to be teaching you is just under $500. But I'm not going to charge you $500. There are early bird tickets right now that are only $97. That's your early bird ticket. And so I want you to take advantage of that if you're interested in coming. Now, let me just tell you a little bit more about what you're going to walk away with. You're going to actually walk away with a personalized blueprint. So you're going to get a downloadable workbook, and we're going to go through it page by page during the event itself, and you're going to actually do exercises, and you're going to fill in every section in the book. And so you'll have a personalized blueprint at the end. You'll also have renewed confidence that you absolutely can do this. If I could do it in my late 50s, you can do it too. And you'll also have a lot of clarity around exactly what the steps are that you want to follow so that you're not overwhelmed and you're not trying to pull everything out of the air. And it's absolutely doable on your own terms, which is one of the best parts of becoming your own boss. And you can also do it at any age. So these are essentially the building blocks of what we're going to do together. And the first thing is we're going to unlock your creative business idea. And this might be something that you're already working on, or it might be something that you've been sitting on for years, right? And even if you struggle with imposter syndrome, we all struggle with imposter syndrome. I do. I just was listening to one of the podcasts I like, and they were talking about imposter syndrome. So we're going to talk about it because mindset's really important. And then you're also going to work with me to identify your ideal customer. And a lot of times we get really worried that if we're too niched down, we're going to eliminate a big part of our audience, or we sometimes have the opposite fear, which is that we're way too broad. And then basically we can't attract the right person because we're not being specific enough. So we're going to dive into that together. We're also going to talk about how to build your audience. So growing your email list is a critical component to any business because that's your customer base. So we're going to have a lot of fun talking about freebies, what yours might be, how to get it up and running, lots, and we're going to have breakout sessions where we do a lot of this work. Then we're also going to talk about offers and how to turn what it is that you love to do into offers that you sell that your customers actually want. And we're going to talk about pricing because I think a lot of times we way underprice what it is that we should be charging for the work we do. And then we're also going to talk about launching. I love to talk about launching because just like the movies, there is a strategy for how to create excitement and anticipation before you actually put something in the marketplace. So that's going to be a really fun component of the 3 days. And we're also going to talk about delivery. How do you get your products and services into the hands of your customers effectively and make sure that they have an incredible experience and they will rave and renew and recruit others to come into your world because they had such an incredible experience with you. And so the total value of everything we're going to cover is just under $500. But I'm not charging that. I'm actually right now offering this program for just $97. And that's your early bird ticket. So these are the dates you need to circle on your calendar. and you have to make room for these, right? You got to make time for these. And I realize that's a big commitment. So if you're working full time, you need to either take these as vacation days, or if you're retired, you need to make sure that you can get rid of any other responsibilities that you have for those 3 days. I know it's a big ask, but if you were going to an in-person conference, you would actually need to take 5 days, because you'd need a travel day at the front end, a travel day on the back end, and then that would be a huge amount of additional expense. Whereas doing this virtually online, I still want you to commit to the 3 days, because the 3 days are long days, but it is so much more accessible because you can do it from home. So early bird pricing ends on June 3rd at midnight. So I want to make sure that you take a look and ask me any questions that you have. Pop into the chat if you have questions. But I want you to mark your calendar. You need to buy a ticket. So right now the tickets are early bird tickets, and they're only $97. And the total value that you're getting access to and everything I'm teaching is almost $500. And I had you in mind when I created this event because I want to make it easy and convenient for you, right? I think that that's why it's so incredibly powerful now to do these type of events without the travel and hotel costs. But you still have to treat them as though they are in person, because you want to be all in all day. I also want to give you my complete framework for how I grew my business, because I've been in business now for 7 years, and it took me a while to put it all together into a framework. And I want to share that framework with you so that you can be more effective and faster in the process of actually creating your creative business, or your side gig, or your part-time business. It's very important that we talk about why you want a business. So we are going to start with strategy first. We're going to zoom out and talk about strategy first. We're going to also talk about your customer, how to attract them, what your offers actually are, how to launch them, and then also what does the delivery look like so that people have a wow experience once they've purchased something from you. And so again, the total value is $497, but you can buy your early bird ticket for only $97. So they're wonderful testimonials. I've only done this once before. So let me come back on screen. I did this once before back in December of last year. And it was very successful. And part of what made it successful, and there are lots of testimonials on the enrollment page where you can buy your tickets. A lot of the key takeaways from the people who attended were about the fact that it was incredibly interactive, that you actually got a lot of work done, that you loved the playbook because it's a physical book that you can print out and it's fillable, or you can keep it online, but it's fillable. And so as we went through the different parts of my 6-part framework, you got work done. So it felt like at the end of the 3 days, you had a roadmap, and it was a personal roadmap. It wasn't just my framework. It was my framework with your roadmap inside it. And it was incredibly fun. And so this isn't like a Zoom-a-thon. This is very interactive. And part of the other thing you'll read about when you read the testimonials is that we had breakout sessions. So here's just a beautiful image of us on screen on Zoom. And you might have seen the tour that I gave you of the studio that I'm in right now. But I have an entire second, if you saw that tour, you can go to my Instagram account. So on Instagram, I'm Anne LaFollette Art also. And so if you go to my Instagram account, you can see where I'm standing right now and what I'm looking at, and the fact that I have this extra monitor where I can really see you when we're on Zoom together. And I can see your name, and I can unmute you, and we can talk to one another, and we can dive into particular issues that you might be having. So it's very interactive. It's not just like Zoomzilla. And then this is the playbook. This is just an image of the playbook that you're going to be able to download. And then this is just one of the people who came on screen with me so that we could actually talk and personally about your particular business. And then here are just some other testimonials for people who came in December. And so the other questions I just wanted to answer, because I just have them in this FAQ area, is that are there any recordings? And so there aren't any recordings, and here's why there are no recordings. We start at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and we end at 4 p.m. Pacific time each day. So that's about 6 hours. So this is why you need to think about it from a mindset perspective. It's like you are going away for 3 days. You just don't have the cost of any of the travel or any of the hassle of the travel. You don't have the airport hassle. You don't have the airline ticket hassle or the TSA line hassle. You can do it from home, but from a mindset perspective, you still have to be all in and block that time out. And we go into breakout rooms. And as you may know, because many of us use Zoom a lot now, you can't record breakout rooms. And so we do a lot of the hands-on work in those breakout rooms, which are not recorded. And then in addition, I want you to think about it like a commitment you would make to go travel somewhere. But here's the thing. It's only $97. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to go to a 3-day in-person event. You can join me live on Zoom. You can cover the same material you would have covered for those thousands of dollars worth of travel, hotel, and in-person event. And we're actually able to do it with my early bird ticket right now of only $97. The other thing is, like, who is this event for? So the event is for anyone who either has a creative idea they want to explore with me, or you already have either a small or even a big business, but you want to make it work better for your life. You want to maybe think about how you might restructure that business so it isn't taking over your entire life, because I believe we need balance. Right? We want to have this creative outlet that we love to do, and we want to share it with others, but we also want balance in our life because we need to make sure we spend time with our family and our friends and our kids or our grandkids, and that it doesn't take over our life. So it's also for people who are just exploring the idea of, ooh, I might be retiring soon, and I don't want to kind of go cold turkey with like nothing to do. So this is a great event to come to start to think about, well, what might you want to do in retirement? Or maybe you are semi-retired and you realize you've got extra time on your hands and you are filling it and it's fine, but you also have always had this dream of selling wrapping paper, just as an example. And you want to know, well, how would I even start? What are the steps that I should follow in order to get something like that up and running? And that's what you'll learn at this event. And then if you have questions during the event, you noticed when I was showing you that ticket page is that you are going to be able to put your hand up, because if you know how to use Zoom, and we'll do a little really, really quick refresh on how to use Zoom when you register, but you'll put your hand up. You'll either wave or hopefully you'll actually use the hand icon so that I can easily see who has questions, and you'll get your questions answered during the course of the event. So I am incredibly excited about it. I have talked about it on my blog. I've also talked about it a bit in my podcast, but it's now official, right? It's now official. It's almost June, and early bird tickets expire on June 3rd, which is next week. And so I wanted to make sure that you are all in and that you know where to go. You go to members.artwithann.com/CBB to grab your ticket. And CBB is Creative Business Blueprint, just the initials, and which you can see on screen, right? It's members.artwithann.com/CBB. And I wanted to just come on screen and say one more thing, which is why am I doing this kind of a program instead of just something that's a bunch of recordings? And I'd love to get your opinion about this. So I do have programs which are just recordings, and you can just watch them. And then there's usually some ability for you to ask questions when you go through it. But it's still not as interactive, or it's not as community-based as doing something like this, which is a live 3-day experience together. And so I just feel like I spent 30 years working for somebody else. And I was following their dream, right? Every company that I worked for, I was a really, really good employee. I worked very, very hard. I was type A personality. Worked my way all the way up to the vice president level, but I was always answering to someone else, and I was always following somebody else's dream. And so I just realized that over the course of the 6 and 7 years I've now been in this online business, I just want to like shout from the rooftops how much fun and how empowering it is to be your own boss and to follow your own dream, not somebody else's. And I think in particular right now, it's fun to learn how to do that in community with other people so that you're not trying to parse it all together yourself. And you're not sort of grabbing at straws or trying to pull it off of YouTube, or you're doing it from three different, you're getting advice from three different people. And so I want you to lean into your creative passion. I want you to then also decide if you wanted this to be a side hustle or a full-time business or a part-time business. And I'm excited to share everything that I have learned over the course of my transformation. And that's what I would want for you too, because it is really fun to be your own boss. It is the most amazing thing. And I have to say, it has really kind of changed my personality from being so serious all the time and so, dedicated to so hardworking, that now when I have my own business, I'm a lot happier, and I can spend more time with my family as well, because you're creating it on your own terms. You're deciding how much time you want to spend on it and how much time you don't want to spend on it. And that is definitely part of my key tenets, which is you need to build this business. And I want to help you build this business or this side gig in a way that supports the life that you want and the life that you want and how you want to make sure it works for your life and not the other way around. So I'm going to let you go. That was today's broadcast. I'm so excited that you're here. If you've got any questions, pop them into the comments, because I'll come back to watch the replay myself in case I didn't get to them. And I'll be back again next week. But I hope in the meantime you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I always like to say in closing that I am Anne LaFollette. And it's never too late to create. Let me give you my cute little emojis before we go. There they are. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.